If you're new here, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer, host of the Get Legit Law and Shit podcast and legal commentator. I've been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but I'm not your attorney, not legal advice. I am a big fan of the Cursey words, so headphones are recommended. This is where the law nerds unite to break down the news stories that you want to hear about with facts, not fuckery. Happy Tuesday, friends. It's so good to see everyone here for Coffee and Cursey Words Live. I'm Emily D. Baker. I love the Cursey words. It's so good to see you all coming in. For those of you watching the replay, hi. I will timestamp once this video populates where we talk about Instagram, where we talk about Hayley Paige, and when I finish saying hello and good morning for everyone so that you know if you're just looking for a particular topic, you can jump to that topic. It's so good to see you guys coming in. Happy holidays. Oh, y'all. There's a lot to talk about. So we have been doing a little bit of a new format with the live videos where I go over the topic, answer the questions on that topic, then switch to the next topic, answer the questions on that topic. And that's what we're going to do today. And then at the end, kind of round up any questions that I haven't gotten to because y'all have been asking me about Instagram. And then this Hayley Paige stuff went down yesterday and you were asking me about that too. And I'm here for it. I'm like, let's talk about it. I'm so curious. So I pulled up legal documents last night. Michael, it's good to see you. I'm doing better. I was under the weather. I'm definitely doing better. So thank you. And that's what it is. I was up way too late last night recording the podcast. The podcast hit 100,000 downloads. It's just over a year old, and that's incredible. I'm so excited. But tomorrow, I normally premiere the video version of the podcast live at 11 a.m. Central. Tomorrow, if I do a whole breakdown on Hayley Paige, I will premiere that at 11 instead, and then also drop the podcast episode to watch at your leisure so we can talk about the legal shit that's popping off. And today is the 22nd. Either today or tomorrow, we're going to be getting a response from Saltsy in the Tati Westbrook defamation case. There's a lot happening. Like the lawsuits are not slowing down. And this Hayley Paige one is interesting, but I will get to that. That will be second. We're going to do Instagram first. I posted on my Instagram yesterday. If you guys don't follow me there, come on over. It's fun. Instagram's kind of my behind the scenes and like, oh, hey, this is what's going on. I do that kind of stuff on Instagram. Twitter, I tend to share articles and what have you. But everywhere on social, I'm at the Emily D. Baker. The Coffee and Cursey Words shirt, if you are interested, is at the Law Nerd Shop. And you guys are always welcome to join the channel. Those are all the YouTube-y things. I think, don't forget to like, subscribe. We're at over 70,000 Law Nerds. You guys, we're going to be dyeing this hair purple really soon for 100,000. It's incredible. So thank you. And I will. Techie, can you review the TikTok community guideline changes? They are being redonkulous. TikTok is kind of following along with some of the other stuff, but it was interesting to see that they were really bouncing people with OnlyFans and people in MLMs and a bunch of other stuff. But yes, we can go over we should do just a roundup at the end of the year of all of the community guidelines. Don't worry if you don't know about the Hayley Paige thing. I will explain. I don't know if Trisha Instagram is coming back from what I saw, Lisa. It doesn't look like it's like just a 30-day unavailable. I'm not sure if Trisha will get her Instagram back. So we will see. Let's talk about Instagram. Oh, I totally forgot to text the text crew this morning that we were going live. Text crew, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, text crew. I'm sorry. I'm going to text you right now. See, this is the beauty of being live is that I can be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was talking to my kiddo because he wants a new game. I think he wants Subnautica or Raft or something. And so that completely distracted me this morning. And then I was like, oh, I totally forgot to text it. These are the things. We're professionals here, people. If you guys are in the text crew and you ever wonder, like, is it actually Emily texting? Yes, Yes, it is. So if you're in North America, you can do that. Let me grab the link to this so I can just remind the text crew that we're here, and then I'll get started. Because I know YouTube doesn't remind everybody. So when I say it's me texting, if you're in the text crew, you know it's me. Coffee and Cursey Words starts now. Well, a few minutes ago, but it's okay. We're just gonna go with now. Things that we can edit out later. Ah, perfect. All right, text crew. Sorry. Professionals here, people, professionals. Happy holidays, everybody. Okay. Jessica, we just got started. So for those of you who are newer to the channel, hi. We do a Coffee and Cursey Words Live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. We do Friday Night Live every Friday at 7 p.m. Central. And then I do other things. Wednesday at 11, we always drop a pre-recorded video as a premiere so that we can live chat. And then sometimes I do a after party after that video so we can all talk about it. And so Tuesday at 11 a.m., Wednesday at 11 a.m., Friday at 7 p.m. are our regularly scheduled programs. And then we add stuff in as shit pops off. We're not going to add stuff in this week because it is the holidays. The mods have their holidays, but I will be dropping videos just to say hi, even if they aren't lives. So we will drop some videos. Trina, thank you. Good evening from Scandinavia. You have a question. What do you enjoy most about Christmas, both the holiday and the celebration on the 24th and 25th? What do I enjoy most about Christmas? This year, Christmas is a little stressful with COVID. Honestly, I enjoy the quiet time. We really take it slow over the holidays and we spend family time. We do board games, we get the fire going, and we really keep it as a time to be close to family. It's a little hard. That's why I said 2020 is a little hard because we're not with our extended family. My parents are still in California. My brother and sister-in-law are in California. My extended family's on the East Coast. So it's just, it's a little different, but it's great time with the kids. And it's generally time I don't work a ton. And I love that too. So thank you guys for coming in. We're going to jump right in to the Instagram terms of use. There are some conversations around the terms of use. I'm going to tell you what I've been seeing, and then I'm going to pull up the terms and the privacy policy and go through them. A lot of them are making them more similar to Facebook. We've been over Facebook terms of use. There are 2 videos at least on this channel about the updated Facebook terms of use, and these go in together with that. But there are privacy concerns, and then there are also concerns from the sex work community. And this is going on TikTok and other platforms as well. We do talk about adulty things here with no judgment. So, that is, let me get my screen sharing going. But that is a real concern with these new terms of use. People feeling like they are being targeted if they have an OnlyFans and things like that. We know that Facebook owns Instagram. We know that Facebook shuts that kind of stuff down. Twitter does not. TikTok is also shutting it down. So for people who run an OnlyFans, it's going to need to not be on your Insta, or it's going to need to be on the low because Insta will pop it out of there. I wonder if that's part of what's going on with Trisha Paytas's account, because I'm going to just take that down so you guys can see. I wonder if that's no, because then you can't see. We're going to just leave it. Me getting distracted again. Shocking. We're going to see how this goes, because if this is what's going on with Trisha Paytas's account, she might not get her account back. Now, I do not co-sign or talk about the things Trisha Paytas does. Trisha Paytas is and has been offensive to lots of different communities. But when we talk about somebody who works on OnlyFans, has a large platform, and has just had their platform taken away on Instagram, she's the one that comes to mind. So we're going to talk about it. I also think, though, I don't agree with much of what Trisha says, and I do not support the things that she does and the communities that she goes after. I also think if you get your platform taken away, you should know. You should know why your platform's been taken away. And one of the push and pulls with social media right now is transparency and how much transparency the end user has. These terms give a little more transparency, but when stuff gets taken down, there's no transparency at all. So we know that Instagram and Facebook are not a sex positive place. I was just talking about this on Clubhouse, which is a new audio only social media app. Right now, I think it's invite only and iOS only, but they have a waiting list. And so that's what we're going through. But I was having a conversation about these terms of use yesterday, and people who work in the sex positive space and the body positive space were letting me know that they were having issues with things being blocked, not being able to run ads, not being able to run ads to like professional sexual health podcasts and things like that. It's gotten very like, no, we don't talk about it. And it's like, no, can we talk about it in a healthy and positive way? Like, people have sex. Why is this so weird? So it was very interesting to see the feedback of people saying, even in the non-sex worker space, but just the open and clear communication, even in a more medical way, that is not being supported on Instagram and Facebook. However, Instagram and Facebook are private companies and they can do what they want to do. And they are making it very clear that they are booting people who are connecting things to OnlyFans under Facebook's sexual solicitation rules. So if you have an OnlyFans, this can be a problem for you. Be sure that you are running your platforms on other socials so it's clear. And if you build on Instagram, it's okay to say, hey, go over to my Twitter. And then your Twitter can link people to your OnlyFans because Twitter is way less uptight about stuff like that. So that is the first feedback or concern that I saw over the new terms of service. The other thing was privacy and whether it's allowing Instagram to spy on you through your camera, microphone, and what have you. Those are not new terms where the camera will go on like maybe before you know it will go on, the audio will go on maybe before you know. This has come up in years past where people have accused Facebook of spying because they will open up your mic. One of the things I love about the new iOS, and I am an Apple fangirl, I'm sure Android has something similar, but if you use your microphone, I'm just going to open up my Instagram and show you guys on my phone. And I think I have a reel about this or something, but if I open, I'm trying not to show all of my personal Instagram, but if I open my Instagram and slide it on, there is this little green dot up in the corner. And when you see that, let's hope this will focus. Hi. This is the most meta thing ever. There's this little green dot up in the corner here. That little green dot means that the camera is on. Can we just... I don't know if I can. Somebody else take a picture. Oh, that's not cute at all. We're going to discard that. No, not good. But you'll see this little green dot up here, and that on iOS shows you that your let's see. Much better. On iOS, that shows you that your camera is on if you're using just the audio. So if you make a phone call or if you open up something like Clubhouse and you have your microphone on, that little dot up in the top will be orange. So you know if your mic is open and you know if your camera is open on iOS devices. iOS devices will also give you the option for private browsing and non-tracking. Facebook's trying to shut it down. Apple's like, not our business model. We don't care if you can't track people, because tracking is how Facebook makes money. Apple doesn't give a fuck how Facebook makes money. Apple's like, if people don't want to be tracked, they don't want to be tracked. I work with VPNs. I'm actually in the process of switching VPNs to NordVPN, and using a VPN on your phone can also stop tracking. So when we're talking about tracking, we definitely need to make sure that we know. Aisha, I don't know how we check it on Android phones because I'm not an Android person, but I will defer you to Tech Valor and the other tech space on YouTube because I'm sure that they know for sure. So I have used a VPN for a very long time just to stop some of that tracking, but it's now getting built into private browsing mode or incognito mode. So if you use things through a web browser on like Google, you can go to incognito mode and browse and it won't track as much. That said, we are being tracked with these apps. I have an episode of the Get Legit podcast on about TikTok that talks about the way these apps track. And it's not the tracking that people are fluffed about with Instagram is not new. That's the way that Facebook tracks. That's the way that TikTok tracks. It's the reason when you have a conversation in your home about something. This happened to me. I was talking with a neighbor. She came over with a drink and was like, "Hey, I've got like a Waterloo and vodka." And I'm like, "What in the mother love is a Waterloo?" And she's like, "Oh, it's just a kind of fizzy water like a LaCroix." No shit. I started getting Waterloo ads on Facebook and I was like, I didn't even search for it. We talked about it in my house. I have devices in my house that I know listen. You know how I know they listen? Because I have the Amazon A word devices, and the A word devices wake up when you say their name, but they have to be listening enough to wake up when you say their name. Siri works a little bit differently, but even then, you have to say the hey S word and then it pops on. So the devices in our homes can absolutely listen. There have been multiple reports and stories of the Amazon A word devices doing things on their own. If you don't think you're being tracked, you are being tracked. If you use social media, you are being tracked. We have some control. Private browsing, um, incognito mode, VPNs. But if you use these things regularly, they know where you are and they can triangulate you. They can see who you spend the most time with because your app is open and their app is open. And you'll start seeing if you go to a business conference or a social media conference and you're on your phone a lot with other people you're around, you will start seeing their content more. So if I'm out with people that I work with or my friends and we are on social media together, I will start seeing their stuff populate higher up because they know we're all accessing from the same location. It's bizarre, but it is what it is. So let's jump into some of these new terms of use. Some of these terms of use are not new. The stuff about the camera in the data privacy policy is not new. So I'm going to go through this article is actually really great. So I'm just going to link it. I really enjoy tech wellness. And then I will link it in the, you know what? I'm going to do it right now because I'll say I'll do it later and then I'll forget. And people will be like, but at 18 minutes, you finally got to the topic and you said you were going to put it in the link and you didn't. I'm just putting it into the link because tech wellness has a great breakdown. Then I will break it down and we will just pull up the language of it. So now it's in the notes too. Okay, let's go. Let's go into their breakdown of what's not new. And this is what I saw too. This is making the terms of use more similar to the Facebook terms of use because, again, Facebook owns Instagram. They are pulling it all together. We've talked about Facebook terms of use. So what's not new? They record and track your personal information. Anything you share on your Instagram or Facebook, the things you post, look at, comment on, your credit card info, all of it's stored and tracked. If you haven't watched The Social Dilemma, now is the time. If a thing is free, you are the thing that is being sold. So The Social Dilemma is actually great at breaking down how social media works, and then you can choose to use it or not. I think transparency is very helpful. I'm not going to tell any of you to not use social media, but I am going to tell you know what you're allowing them to access so that you can make that choice. They use and share your personal info. Since you don't pay for Instagram, they make money off your personal info, and they say it in the privacy policy. They have access to your camera and microphone. This is not new. They let you know that they have access to it, but Now in some of the apps, you can choose if you allow access to one photo to all your photos, and you can change that when you open and give permissions. You can change your permissions in your phone. I know Tech YouTube has all of the permissions on your phone, and you can go in and change if they have access to just one photo to all photos. But it's a camera app. You're allowing them to access your camera, and you can go into your phone settings and change your permissions. NJ makes a fantastic point. You can run ads based on geolocation and down to very specific ads, because I have friends that will run ads very specifically. If they're not at a conference, will run their ads to the location of that conference. And that is absolutely something that marketers do. It's changing and shifting, but it is very it is it's becoming more transparent, but we are tracked very specifically, and not just us being tracked, but like us being tracked to what our neighbors are doing too. Us being tracked to, oh, they're all watching the same show, or oh, they're all searching for the same things, or this is growing in this area in interest. So we are tracked also by the locations we're at, but by the people we're around the most, because they're tracking their phones too by proximity. It's very, very interesting. And that's becoming more transparent in the terms of use, but it's still really creepy. But also, it's a choice that we make. And the only way to not agree to these terms of use is to not use the service. That is the only way. The Instagram terms of use changed in the way that the Facebook terms of use changed with the arbitration provision. And we talked about that, and we're going to talk about it. That's the data policy. Did you see it switch on me? Here's the terms of use. Sometimes called terms of service. The words are interchangeable. Terms of use, terms of service just mean this is what you're agreeing to if you use our shit. And every time you use our shit, you're agreeing to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, or you don't agree, you can go. And if you don't follow the rules, we will see you to the door and say goodbye. You may not use the Instagram. So if you are someone who is in the influencer space, content creator space, online marketing space, you need to know these rules so you don't lose your platform. You also need a way to connect with your crew in another way than just on Instagram or just on Facebook or just on YouTube. We don't own these platforms. These platforms allow us to use them, but tomorrow they can be like, bish, bye. We're not, You were talking about our terms of use. We're gonna just suspend you for 30. No, YouTube, I love you. We're just breaking down the law, YouTube overlords. I love Google. Thank you. Please don't suspend me. I'm joking. It's hyperbole to make an example. But this is rented space. You are using these platforms. So always having a way to connect with your people outside of this is a good way to do it. That can be email, that can be texting, that can be your website. Always have a way where you can connect with your people. But I believe that people like Trisha Paytas, she makes most of her money on social media. I have never seen her drive people anywhere when I used to watch her content before all the things. It's always a drive to OnlyFans or the podcast, but it's never a drive to like go to my website and get on my email list. A lot of content creators don't think that way. Like entrepreneurs and internet marketers think that way, but not all content creators think that way. So let's get into why the Instagram terms of use are basically now just the Facebook terms of use. It's making it clear that Instagram service is a Facebook product. We know this. The government is trying to break that up and make that not be the way, but we know this. Arbitration notice. This is what the big change in the Facebook terms of use too. You agree that disputes between you and us will be resolved by binding individual arbitration, and you waive your right to participate in a class action lawsuit or class-wide arbitration. We explain some exceptions and how you can opt out of the arbitration below. So they explain it below, but to opt out, you have to give them more information. So if you want to opt out, you have to say, hey, I don't want to be a part of this. I want to be able to sue you. But then they can sue you too. Arbitration means it goes to a binding non-lawsuit process that is a more private process where generally a retired judge, but it can be another type of attorney that is the arbitrator or mediator will help you resolve the dispute. There's not a lot there that you can do. The legality of waiving your right to participate in a class action lawsuit, I am not sure of yet. It has not been challenged in court yet. But this means that if everyone who has a OnlyFans that's on Instagram got together and they're like, look, there's thousands of us or tens of thousands of us or more, who knows, worldwide platform, you can't all get together and sue because if you all got together to sue, it would violate the terms of use and you've waived that right. I don't know if that will survive a court challenge. We will see, but platforms are trying to do that. So who knows? We will see. Okay, so the Instagram service, much like Facebook's ads, go through and describe what the service is and go through and tell you how to use the service. Again, there are not a ton of things that you can do other than stop using the service to stop these terms from being applied to you. Yes, you can kind of use Instagram on the web, but you can't post. Like you can consume, but you can't post it. So if you wanted to consume Instagram, but not really actively engaged, you could put on something like a incognito mode or a privacy mode and then just consume Instagram. But a lot of people really enjoy the interaction and engagement of it. So this breaks down what the Instagram service is: fostering a positive, inclusive, and safe environment. That is it. You can get into the data policy. Let me also link this so you guys have it. How our service is funded is a very clear description of you being the product. Instead of paying to use Instagram, by using the service covered by these terms, you acknowledge that we can show you ads that businesses and organizations pay us to promote on and off the Facebook company products. We use your personal data, such as information about your activity and interest, to show you ads that are more relevant to you. We show you relevant and useful ads. Look how positive this is. We do such a good job of showing you shit that you might want to buy. I have something in the background. It's like a floating plant thing back here. Instagram ad totally was. But listen to the language in this. It's like, we show you the ads that you want because that's how we make all of our money. We show you relevant and useful ads without telling advertisers who you are. We don't sell your personal data. No, we sell your attention. We allow advertisers to tell us things like their business goal and the kind of audience they want to see their ads. We then show their ad to people who might be interested. We also provide advertisers with reports about the performance of their ads. And then this goes on to how buying ads work. You can click through and read it. You may see branded content on Instagram posted by account holders who promote products or services based on a commercial relationship with the business partner. That is the kind of influencer market. This also cracks down on actually stating that there's a commercial relationship properly. Influencers do this wrong all the time, but I think that Instagram is really going to start cracking down on the hashtag sponsored brand collaborations. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, get your money, get your advertising dollars, get your sponsorship. You just have to disclose it. This gets you to the data policy, your commitments in return for our commitment to provide the service, our commitment to give you the gram. You must also make commitments to us. You must be 13. You must not be prohibited from receiving any aspect of our service under applicable laws. You're responsible for that. You must not have previously disabled your account for violation of law or any of our policies. So if you get removed for a violation of law, so if perhaps it is found that you have harassed someone in the cyberspace, defamed someone in the cyberspace, or other violations of law. And as a part of that, you had to disable your service, or YouTube, or not YouTube, Instagram disabled your service. You can't just make another account. We must not have previously disabled your account for violation of law or any of our policies. So if you get taken down, we must not have previously disabled your account for violation of any law or any of our policies. If you get taken down off his Instagram, you can't just have another account. So it makes me wonder if Trisha has been disabled for violation of their policies. Is she allowed to have a backup Instagram under these terms of use? No, you can't. If you are, I think Perez Hilton also got yanked off a couple platforms. I don't know if Instagram was one of them, but if you get yanked, you can't just have another account. It violates terms of service again, which means they can just pull you down again because they're like, no, you even having an account violates terms of service. So it's very interesting. If you lose your account under terms of service, you're not supposed to have a second one, and having another one, because you, the human of you, is the one that's barred, not the account. It's not the Trisha Paytas account that's the problem. It's the Trisha Paytas that's the problem, right? So if an individual gets barred, you can't just go and be like, hey, I'm here on this other one. No, that's not how that works. That's not how this works. And you must not be a convicted sex offender. I don't know how they would ever know unless somebody reported it. I really don't know how they would know that. How you can't use Instagram. I feel like they're trying to make positive statements here. So it's like, these are our terms of use, but this is awkward for me. How you can't use Instagram. Shit you're not allowed to do on the gram. Providing a safe and open service for a broad community requires that we all do our part. You can't impersonate others or provide inaccurate information. However, I have a friend whose face is being used on other people's accounts, but because they're not using her name, Instagram and Facebook's like, yeah, they're not impersonating you. She's like, but their profile picture is me. So there's some gray zone in what they mean by impersonating. You don't have to disclose your identity on Instagram, but you must provide us with accurate and up-to-date information, including registration information, which may also include providing personal data. So if somebody is impersonating you, you can't do anything unlawful, misleading, or fraudulent, or for an illegal or unauthorized purpose. That is so broad. That is so broad. Unlawful or misleading. Who decides what misleading is? Like half of the influencers' posts are misleading. It's like, if I just pop the hip out, my butt will look different. Misleading. How they determine what misleading is very curious to me. You can't violate or help or encourage others to violate these terms or our policies, including in particular, and then they get into the different guidelines. You can't do anything to interfere with or impair the intended operation of the service. That includes misusing any reporting, dispute, or appeals channel, such as by making fraudulent or groundless reports or appeals. So you can't mass spam somebody's account unless, of course, they've clearly broken terms of use, is what that says. You can't attempt to create accounts or access or collect information in unauthorized ways. You can't sell, license, or purchase any account or data obtained from us or our service, which is interesting to me that you can't sell an account, because I've seen people sell accounts, and that's generally in business transactions. If you're selling a brand, the social media accounts go with it. But it says this includes attempts to buy, sell, or transfer any aspect of your account, including your username. Who knew that that was against terms of use? It's not something uncommon. You can't post someone else's private or confidential information without permission or do anything that violates someone else's rights. That's broad, including intellectual property rights, e.g. copyright infringement, trademark infringement, counterfeit, or pirated goods. That's a big one. And this gets into Erica Jane's post that came down. Erica Girardi posted what was purported to be Tom's mistress, but it had a full ass phone number on it. I don't know if it's still a good phone number, but the doxing is real and you can't do that. Her account on Instagram still seems to be up, but this is problematic. Though I've seen people use like trademarked brands in their handle. I think it's up to people to report it and then Instagram to decide. And then it gets into, you can't use a domain name or URL in your username without our prior written consent. So if you have a website, like mine is emilydbaker.com, I couldn't use emilydbaker.com in my username. It doesn't mean I couldn't use Emily D. Baker, even though it's the same as my domain name. So it's going to get interesting on how they interpret this and how they enforce this. Then we get into the licensing provisions, permissions regarding username, additional rights to advertise, to, all the things. All the things. If you select a username or similar identifier for your account, we may change it if we believe it's appropriate or necessary. So if you have something controversial, then they can go ahead and just change that. They talk about content removal and disabling or terminating your account. Content will not be deleted within 90 days of the account deletion or content deletion process, beginning in the following situations: where your content has been used by others in accordance with this license and they have not deleted it, in which case this license will continue to apply until the content's deleted; where deletion within 90 days is not possible due to technical limitations; where deletion would restrict our ability to. This means if you want to rage quit Insta, they will keep your shit for 90 days. Investigate or identify illegal activity or violations of our terms and policies. Protect the safety and security of our products and systems. Comply with legal obligation, such as the preservation of evidence. So even if you want to rage quit, they will keep it or can keep it in situations where they're preserving evidence. Comply with the request of a judicial or administrative authority. So just because you delete it doesn't mean shit's gone, which is interesting. If you delete or we disable your account, these terms shall terminate as an agreement between you and us. And then it goes on. So this is the arbitration agreement, and it gives you the ability to opt out right here. Notice there's no header, how we will handle disputes. Notice there's no header on how to opt out. It's just tucked away right here. You can opt out within 30 days of the date that you agree to these terms. That means 30 days from December 20th, 2020, or 30 days from when you first start using the service, whichever is later. So if you've been using IG forever, 30 days from the 20th of December. If you become new to Instagram after this, then 30 days from that. You must send your name, your home address, your username, your email address, and your phone number that's connected to your Instagram account that you want to opt out of the arbitration agreement. No one knows what will happen if you do this. You'll be opted out, but does that mean you'll be like blacklisted from the service? Nobody knows. It'll be very interesting. So if you feel strongly about opting out, you can do that, and it's here. If you're going to commence arbitration, you have to give them notice, and it goes on. And they can update the terms whenever the fuck they feel like it, which is standard. So that is essentially what's up with the IG terms. I'm going to hop back in here and answer some of your questions, and then we're going to shift gears into into wedding dresses and drama. So let me see. I know I missed a couple super chats and super stickers. Thank you, Wanda. So I want to make sure I shout those out. Lori Smith, good morning. Emily, are you feeling better? Yes, Lori, I am. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Mary Richard, thank you for the super chat. She said, my dog is a model for several small businesses, and we have been affected by the new IG terms of service. Even though we don't get free product, just discount, we have to make it a paid promotion. Anytime. So Mary, you bring up an excellent point, and thank you. I'm sorry that I can't get all the way back up in the chat on StreamYard here. So I apologize for that. But if there is any financial benefit, you have to disclose the affiliate relationship or the financial relationship. I know people don't always do it, but if there is any benefit, so if you are sent something at a discount, that's a financial benefit. If you are sent something for free to try, but you don't get paid, that's a financial benefit. What's not a financial benefit is like, hey, I went and bought this at Sephora and I use it. There's no financial benefit. If you go buy it, I get no money. If you like it, I get no money. If, they haven't paid me, we're going to like this. My my V-neck was shifting. So there's no financial benefit there. If I had gotten this on a discount and they said, hey, try it, or here it is for free, try it, let us know if you like it. If I get it for free and try it and then tell you guys, hey, I really like this, I need to let you know I got this for free because there's a financial benefit there. And those are the FTC rules. They used to be much clearer when it was just like television and then it would cut to commercial. But it's interesting because television and movies get paid for product placement. So they will get paid for the actors to use an iPhone versus an Android or to use a Windows computer. And you'll see them very clearly clacking away with the Windows logo on the back. They get paid for those, but they don't disclose them. So how is it different if you get like, if somebody wanted to pay me to put something right here and have it visible in the background? Is that a paid promotion? Is it a paid promotion if I get a new microphone and use it and it's visible, but I don't really talk about it? Because that's what television does. So there are some gray zones between how TV works and how social media works. But if there's a financial benefit and you are sharing it, you need to disclose the financial benefit. But buxom, I'm here for it. Ocean Silhouette said, and thank you again for the super chat. I work in marketing and the sheer amount of info I find out by someone visiting the company site is insane. Yes, there is a lot. There is a lot. When you track people with pixels, it's a lot of information. Like it's a lot of information, but it's not like Emily did this. It's like a profile of me. Again, the social network shows how they make these like mock models of like a person of my general age, looking at my general interests, and that's how they decide. Jen Teal said, my husband is a cybersecurity expert and we have any devices walled off from the open internet, no Google, Alexa, etc. ever in the house. Merry Christmas. Yeah. And a lot of people don't because it's not secure. It's just not, it's not secure. And that's a choice. Like, do we want convenience or do we want security? And it's a choice. The thing that frustrates me with social media is that not everybody knows it's a choice. So at least talking about these changes, we understand that it's a choice. And we understand that it's a choice. It's just Roddy said that is called a ban in evasion. Yes, it is called ban evasion, but it's interesting. Evan Julene, I get pet commercials and I don't have a pet. You must be watching content that makes them think that you would be into it. Brenda Lee Linden said, my annoyance these days is websites not allowing you to read in incognito mode or even read only, or where it doesn't load images and you read just the article. It makes the whole idea of incognito moot. And not being able to allow to read and read only, I wonder if would become an American with Disabilities Act issue, because some people need to be able to read sites on readers like that, and sites are required to be accessible. So I wonder if it's legal for sites to block that. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Jake's Baby Cake says, I swear Google can mind read. No, they just hear you say it. I've received ads on things I've thought about and never said out loud. Oh, well, it might just show how influenced we are. Like, oh, her friends are all doing this, or these other people in your sphere are all doing this. So then you start thinking about it. And then it's like, oh, she just watched The Crown. Maybe she's interested in this. And yes, I did. I just watched all of this season of The Crown in the last few days, and I love it. We were talking about Perez Hilton. Yeah, I'm not sad for Perez Hilton, like at all. I think his behavior on TikTok was appalling. Like, I'm not sad at all. At all. So what Trisha just did by making a new Insta, Whitney, I worry that the terms of use say that she can't do that. So I worry. I'm going to try to get to a few more questions. Nancy said on Facebook, you're not supposed to have multiple accounts either. Exactly. Some people do, but you're not supposed to. Aisha is talking about Trisha. I imagine she's not supposed to have an alternative account, so they might suspend her for longer, or they might just take her off the platform entirely because they can. Trisha has a backup account. She calls it Trisha Backup. Yeah, I saw that. I'm sure that they've seen that at this point too. And I think that will be a problem. Then the Hayley Paige one should be deleted because it's no longer here. Katrina, we will get to Hayley Paige for sure. I want to make sure, but yes, we will. So Meghan Markle should not be able to transfer her followers because the Sussex Royal account is not their personal account, and they should not be able to transfer followers from one account to the other. That goes beyond kind of the terms of use that we just went through. Kate asked, are you aware of all the fraudulent websites advertising on Facebook? Example, fake companies selling clothing. Kate, I am. It's up to people, to report them and Facebook to shut it down. I think Facebook is trying. It's just so interesting to me what they catch in their bots and what they don't catch. And I don't know who's making those decisions on how they're shutting stuff down. But yes, wherever we have the ability to sell things on platforms, there are going to be problems with it. It's just the nature. It's just the nature of the interwebs, isn't it? Let me see if I can get to a few more. Let's see if we can get a few more. Iris, question, how can IG check if you're an offender? Even if someone reports, how can they know if it's the truth? I would imagine that if there was a situation where a legal case came up, that people would send that to Instagram. I also wonder if it's just not a policy they're necessarily going to enforce 100, but a policy that they're like, look, we're doing this to clean it up. We are doing our part, and we know that this can be a problem, so we're doing our part, and that it's more of they might not be able to enforce it, but at least it's said. Maybe. So Melissa said, I was taken down not for anything I did, but because an imposter stole my account. I informed Instagram of this and they disabled my account and left the imposter. Go figure. Well, that's and that's the frustration with social media, is the lack of transparency, and people don't always know. And you're like, well, what did you even do? Like, what? And that is frustrating. If I haven't said it today, I'm going to say it now. Get your two-factor authentication turned on all of your social medias. Be mindful of using the Facebook login, because if somebody gets into your Facebook, they have access to everything Facebook has logged in with. Use your two-factor authentication. Use it. Do it now. Make a note. Do it after this live. If you're on your phone watching, put on your two-factor authentication. Put it on. Put it on today. Put it on. I don't want to hear, oh, my account was hacked. No, two-factor authentication. That is one of the first steps in protecting yourself. Nancy said, oh, I use my biz name on IG, which is also in my domain. I think it's the .com, like, using, awesomesauce.com might seem like more of a domain, but Awesome Sauce on IG would just be your brand name. So I think it's trying to stop people from actually using a full URL in it. So that's what I'm thinking with that when I read it. I'm going to try to get to a few more questions before we move on to our next topic. You guys, thank you for asking for all of the questions. Mama said, even with two-factor settings, I still get hacked. And that then is accessed through something else. MoMA Death, I would definitely make sure that your emails are locked down. And I am not a cybersecurity expert. I'm just a girl who really likes tech, but I would make sure that your emails are locked down, because if your emails aren't locked down, there are ways around two-factor authentication. But two-factor authentication with your phone number is one of the best first steps. Antigone78 said, I think some people experience the Bader-Meinhof effect, where they don't realize they've seen something already and then they're being tracked. I think that can happen when we're like, oh, how did they know? Because sometimes we really don't process everything that we experience. So I appreciate the thoughtful comment. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything else. Chartruth Seeker, I'm sorry that I missed your super chat. Thank you. How do recent California privacy laws on websites fit into privacy on social media platforms? Everyone has to adhere to the California Consumer Privacy Act. And Facebook had said at first, like, we're not doing that. And now is kind of coming around. So the way that information is tracked has to be more transparent. And you're allowed, if you're a California citizen, to get that information. All websites should have a California privacy policy statement saying how people can get their information. It's somewhat like GDPR for California. So any site that touches California or business that's in California. And I think this is part of it, that social media platforms are trying to adjust to those new rules. And then Ocean Silhouette, thank you for the super chat, said, since I blue text mined, check Google settings, data, ad personalization, and you can see what it knows about you. Logged into Android will track. So you can go to Google settings, data, and ad personalization to check those things out. Thank you, Ocean Silhouette, for sharing that with everybody. I appreciate that. But yes, for all the marketers in the chat, you can let people know, if you've run Facebook ads, how specific you can be and how much information you can find. It is a lot of information. It truly is. All right, let me make sure I got all of the questions, and then I keep saying this is the third wrap up of switching topics. the third switch. Passenger shaming. I'm not surprised people try to hack you. You have quite a large platform and your platforms are very fun. And as platforms go, people do try to hack. We've seen this happening on YouTube recently too, these like takeover attacks where people take over YouTube accounts, private all the videos, and then run their own shit. It's wild. It happened to Thomas Halpert most recently that I saw, but it happens to YouTubers worldwide. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. I saw a question about my hair. It's really just messy, but maybe we can get a hair tutorial. That would be on an Instagram thing. Okay. Let's just move. Last question on this, and then we're moving on. Piper Pup question. I follow a content creator who live streams on both Facebook and Periscope at the same time. That way we can listen to you in the background. Would you consider doing the same? I do on Fridays. I do my live stream on both YouTube and Facebook. Because Periscope is shutting down, I have not connected to Periscope. It doesn't mean I won't connect to something like why did I just blank? On Twitch, something like Twitch. It just depends. But yes, I do that for my Friday night streams, but I can do that on my the Tuesday streams as well. I know for those of you with Facebook or with YouTube Premium, you can listen in the background. But yes, thank you, Piper Pup, for the question. I appreciate it. Passenger shaming. This takes 30 seconds. Literally, it is literally just kind of a mess, but it's because this is all we've got, people. This is all we've got. Sometimes there's hairspray to keep all the baby hairs down. Sometimes there's not. Okay. I use StreamYard. I just don't always choose to put these conversations on Facebook. I tended to just do the Friday night ones, but yes, I can. And yes, I know Twitch also just got new terms of service, and you're not allowed to say, like, Twitch has particular words that they're banning. It's crazy. I am not super familiar with Twitch, but I could stream to both. So I absolutely could. I just have not sat down and done that yet. But maybe for the new year, we will figure out getting Twitch. Twitch is confusing to me. Like, there's a lot that goes on, and I find it very distracting. It's like, I don't know. Twitch is distracting to me. Okay, let's move on to what went down yesterday with Hayley Paige. I will be totally honest. I was not familiar with her. A lot of you sent this to me, and I appreciate it. Nancy was the first one I saw who sent it to me, going, oh my God, this. A lot of you sent this to me and had questions. So for those of you who are like, who in the world is this person? We will get into it. let's get into Hayley Paige. She is a wedding dress designer. She put up this 8-minute video. We can I will pull up just a brief snippet of it because I'm curious how many views it's gotten. 1.5 million views since yesterday. I'm not surprised. This is a 98,000 follower Instagram account, all that glitters on the gram. She is a wedding dress designer. She apparently is on Say Yes to the Dress. And hold on, let me go on Instagram and show you. She has the account in question. Let me pull up the account in question because that would be helpful. And then I pulled some of the legal documents for this suit that is happening in New York. She is in the middle of a lawsuit with her parent company, which is a bigger couture company, JLM Couture, and that's what's going on. There was a TRO, which is a temporary restraining order, and we will talk about the temporary restraining order. She lost her Instagram account in this temporary restraining order to the company that she had worked for. So this is her Miss Hayley Paige, 1.1 million followers on her Instagram account. This is the account subject to the issue in the TRO, though it goes beyond that. It is a account she says is both a personal and business account. You can see pictures of, I'm assuming this is her husband, pictures of life, pictures of, this is very much a reel of what seems to be her and her husband. I'm sure there's music. We're not playing it, but this is not just an account, it seems to me, of wedding dresses. This is a kind of a personal brand type account, but the business is like, no, we own the personal brand that is Hayley Paige. And that's where some of this frustration is coming in. Because yes, there are very clearly dresses that she designs in here as well, but also intermixed with personal stuff. So that's this account, this 1.1 million follower account, is what this is over. She, in this 8-minute video, I'm not surprised there's a million views on it because it blew up yesterday. This was clearly not on a camera phone. Like, look at that bouquet in the background. Like the filming setup on this video is goals. Like it is a well filmed video. And she goes in to talk about the fact that she is resigning from JLM Couture. That's the parent company, that it's with a heavy heart. That I have resigned from my role as head designer of my labels. Her labels. She has labels under JLM Couture. Going forward, I will no longer be associated with any of their products, including the designs and dresses which bear my name. JLM Couture has convinced a court to temporarily prevent me from even using my own name in public in any business context. In any business context. That's important. Possibly even including announcing that they have what they have done to me. The court also granted them control of the 1 million+ follower Instagram account that I started in early 2012, along with my TikTok and Pinterest accounts for their own purposes. At present, I'm not even allowed to remove my personal photos or thoughts from these accounts. I am shocked and disappointed that the JLM Couture and CEO Joseph Murphy could or would do this to me. I wanted to be the first to personally tell you that I'm no longer personally running the accounts associated with Miss, followed by my name, at least until this matter is resolved in court. So this is a temporary restraining order that's been issued pending this trial. So she talks in the video about it, about what happened to her. She is clearly very upset in this video, and I've linked that on my Instagram. So if you follow me there, there's a link to it. So the temporary restraining order is the heart of the issue here. The company was this JLM Couture. I was not familiar with them. Look, I've been married a really fucking long time and I'm not fancy. But it's clear that under JLM Couture, Hayley Paige is one of their brands. So they go through their different brands. This is the Hayley Paige brand. They have other designer brands. It's clear that under Hayley Paige, there are quite a lot of collections from her and all different kinds of dresses and what have you. And as I said, she's been on Say Yes to the Dress, which is probably why she's very well known. That's at least my guess, that people who are into this stuff would know who she is. She seems to be a fairly big name in the bridal world. So what is happening? Well, her name is trademarked to JLM Couture. So if you go to here, I'm going to pull up the trademark and then we're going to pull up the employment agreement because they own her name. And let's pull up the trademark system and I will show you, but they own her name. They own her name. So let's see what context they own her name in. And I can't spell Hayley while I'm talking, apparently. Pull up Hayley Paige, and I will show you guys what's in here. So we are in the very ugly government website that is the trademark search system. And these are the trademarks: Hayley Paige, Occasions by Hayley Paige, Hayley Paige Occasions, Hayley Paige, La Petite Hayley Paige, Hayley Paige, Hayley Paige, Blush by Hayley Paige. These are all owned by JLM Couture. So this is her name in clothing, namely wedding gowns. So her name as it's associated to wedding gowns and dresses, bridal party gowns and dresses, vests, hats, gloves, undergarments, and evening gowns, headwear, bridal apparel, namely gowns, dresses, veils, bridal party dresses. So she cannot put the name Hayley Paige onto anything in this category because this is trademarked to JLM Couture. Same with the logoing of Hayley Paige. This is the right to use this particular look mark, and that is owned by JLM Couture. Oh, my nose. Hayley Paige in the world of jewelry and watches is owned by JLM Couture. La Petite Hayley Paige is going to be, I would imagine, kids' things. The English translation of the word Le Petite is marked as the little. Dresses, tops, clothing, tutus, bottoms, and it goes into including batting helmets. I'm super confused. Caps, nurses' caps, swimming, dunce caps, football helmets, I guess headpieces. And that's owned by JLM Couture. I want to see the Couture batting helmet, swimming cap, dunce cap, and football helmet. What are they anticipating making? I have so many questions about why dunce caps is in here. Look. What? What are we making? Are we thinking like a fairy princess hat with like the point and like the OG princess hat with like the big pointy hat with the like veil coming off of it? But athletic helmets, construction helmets, military helmets, protective safety helmets. I'm so curious. What headwear are we making under La Petite? Anyway, I'm just. There's another one for La Petite Hayley Paige for the word mark for dresses and tutus. I imagine that's a kid's line owned by JLM Couture. Hayley Paige again, bow ties, neckties, ties, and that is also in the world of bridal apparel. That is also for the look, the stylized mark there. Let's get into Hayley Paige Occasions, clothing, wedding gowns, all the things, evening gowns. Occasions by Hayley Paige, wedding gowns, bridal party dresses. And then Hayley Paige, the name again, bridal apparel, gowns, dresses, vests, hats, gloves, undergarments, bridal party dresses. And that is owned by JLM Couture. So her name, Hayley Paige, is trademarked in all of these work-related categories where she is not going to be able to use that name going forward to design wedding dresses, evening dresses, the types of things she uses. She is going to have to do that under another branding and not with her line. So let's talk about the employment contract. I'm not going to pull up the front page. I haven't had a chance to go through and redact any of this. In this lawsuit, there are some things that are currently under seal, which means the court has sealed them for sure. So you can't get into them. But in this employment contract, this was attached as an exhibit to the temporary restraining order. This is an agreement from July 13th, 2011. And I'm going to pull up the part where it talks about the ownership of her name. I will do a breakdown video of all of this and make sure that we have the breakdown of all of this. So let me pull up that part that goes to intellectual property. And this isn't uncommon, especially when you are working for a parent company. So it is in this agreement right here. Let's just pull up the agreement. So this is attached. You can see the case number here. This is the federal case number for this lawsuit. There is a pending lawsuit. I'll pull up the complaint in a moment and go over that. But this employment agreement was attached. Look, we love receipts. This is the thing I said when we pulled up the first Toddy Westbrook complaint. I was like, where's the attachment of all the agreements that are supposed to say this stuff? Just attach the fucking agreement so we can talk to it. Guess what? They attached all the agreements so we could just go ahead and talk about it. All right. Exclusive right to the designer name. This was paid for, and the amounts it was paid for are blacked out. That's under seal. That is trade secrets and things like that. So that's marked out, which is fine. We don't really need to know the full tea on that. We just need to know what it is. Travis, I'm cursing, buddy. Good to see you, sweetheart. That's my little guy. Thank you, Michael, for saying hi to the T-Man. I appreciate it. So, exclusive right to the designer name. The employee hereby grants the company the exclusive worldwide right to license to use her name, Hayley Paige, Hayley Paige Gutman, Hayley Gutman, Hayley Paige, or any derivative thereof, collectively designer's name, in connection with the design, manufacture, marketing, and or sale of bridal clothing, bridal accessories, and related bridal and wedding items, including any and all goodwill associated therewith, throughout the term, which is the term of the employment agreement, plus a 2-year period following the term or any extension thereof. So they have that from a full term of this contract plus 2 years. However, it doesn't mean that the trademark will then get turned over to her, because there's also a trademark. In the event that the company has not sought to register the designer's name as a trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office or other authorities in the United States or abroad prior to and including the last day of the 2 years period following the termination of the employee's employment, for whatever reason, such exclusive right and license by company to use employee's name shall terminate upon the passage of the 2-year period. That means only if they don't register the trademark does the right to use the name expire. Because it's registered, and that's why I pulled it up, because it's registered, it does not expire at the end of the 2-year period, because they registered the trademark. This is in the event that the company has not sought to register the designer's name as a trademark. So if they don't register it by the end of the 2-year period after the contract ends, the contract just ended 2 years from today, if they had not, or 2 years from when it ended recently, if they had not trademarked it, then it just dies. But because they trademarked it, they own the trademark. The employee hereby irrevocably sells, assigns, and transfers all right, title, and interest to the company that now exists or may exist during the term and for a period 2 years thereafter to register the designer's name or any derivatives thereof as trademarks or service marks with the USPTO and other authorities in the United States and abroad. The permission of the employee to the company to so register the trademarks shall be exclusive and perpetual, ongoing, and is hereby granted in exchange for good and valid consideration. Money we paid you for the right. Employee agrees to and shall cooperate with the company and execute any and all documents to perform any and all other actions that may reasonably be necessary to effectuate the intent to secure for the company the ownership of the trademarks. That means you have to work with us to get the trademarks. The company shall be solely permitted to license the trademarks to a third party, so they can license her name out to other things in those trademarked categories. The trademarks shall in perpetuity be the exclusive property of the company. Perpetuity. Forever. Perpetuity. The trademarks shall in perpetuity be the exclusive property of the company, the employee having consented to it being filed by the company, and the employee thereof shall have no right to use the marks, designer's name, or any confusingly similar marks or names in trade or commerce during the term and any time thereafter without the express written consent of the company. She sold the rights to her name. She sold the rights to her name. And she sold the rights to her name. When she sold the rights to her name, there was consideration for that, which means she got paid for that. And I'm not saying this still doesn't feel shitty. It feels shitty. It's got to feel shitty. This is like when Prince sold his name and couldn't use the name Prince when he broke up with Sony. This feels shitty, but they paid her. As additional consideration for the assignment to the company of the designer name, employees shall receive a payment equal to, and then a percent of net revenues. So it was sold. It was sold. It was sold. So it was sold. That's what this contract dispute is over. And this is why she is fighting it out with them, but this is also why they took over the Instagram. And remember, they took over the Instagram while this is pending so that she can't potentially damage it because it included the right to any marketing items or marketing material. We're going to go back up to the name Hayley Paige, Hayley Paige Gutman, Hayley Gutman, Hayley Paige, or any derivative thereof in connection with the design, manufacture, marketing, or sale of bridal clothing, bridal accessories, and related bridal or wedding items. She can't use her name for those things, including marketing. And that's where the argument over the Instagram is, that the Instagram is marketing of wedding dresses. And if she's continuing to use her name on an Instagram account with wedding dresses, it is marketing and they own it. It doesn't make it feel right, but they own those trademarks in perpetuity. I understand why she's mad. In her video, and you guys are welcome to watch it, but in this video, she talks about the fact that she never had a lawyer review this. And she says, if anything comes from this, I want you to take away, have a lawyer review it. Now, this is not a standard employment contract. This is a much more like, where is it? This contract, nope, we're going to get there. This contract is much more like a recording contract, not so like when you go work for a company. But often when you're the employee, the company owns what you create when you're there. The company owns your intellectual property. This happened, by way of example, this happened with Bratz dolls. Do y'all remember Bratz dolls? Like they were kind of like Barbie dolls, but they were like super hoey, like super hoey. Like you go into the store and you're like, they're selling those to kids. I'm going to pull up a picture. Let me see if I can pull up a visual of Bratz dolls. I need the OG ones that were super hoish. Here we go. Bratz dolls. Bratz dolls. Bratz dolls. This summarizes a Bratz doll. Is this somebody's tweet? Perfect. The Bratz dolls are fierce, but also they're Bratz dolls. I mean, Bratz dolls, kind of fierce. Here's the thing that happened with Bratz dolls. The person who created Bratz dolls and then started selling Bratz dolls worked for Mattel at the time they created the concept. And Mattel was like, no, friend. No. You were employed by us toy maker when you came up with idea for said toy. That idea is ours. And therefore, we own the Bratz dolls. And then they immediately scuttled them. They were like, no fucking way. So Bratz dolls were absolutely meant for kids. So Bratz dolls ended up being the property of Mattel because the person was a Mattel employee when they created them. When you are an employee, and this I talked about a lot in connection with the new I mean, it's been a year now, but with AB5 in California changing people from independent contractors to employees, particularly things like cartoonists and photographers and copywriters, your your employer owns your intellectual property unless you have specific provisions against it. And this contract is beyond what you would see in most. This is more like a recording label where the artist, here the designer, is going over the terms of selling their intellectual property, selling their creativity. And though it's not music that they're selling, what they're selling is their designs, but it's very similar to a recording contract where they own your work and they own your name. That means even if she's not designing dresses going forward, they can put her name on shit because they own the right to do that, even if she's not the one designing it. And I imagine as an artist, that feels disingenuous. It feels like it's tricking your audience and it feels gross because you're like, I didn't design that. I didn't create that. I didn't draw that. And now you're putting my name on it and just selling it, and I'm not in control. It would feel very out of control with your name. And so she says in this, let me try to find the place where she says, if you take anything away from it, talk to a lawyer.
Year-and-a-half long legal battle account, as well as my cloud, to take down personal photos or conversations, as stated. But I wanted to be the first to December 16th on. Click birth the name in any business whatsoever indefinitely. To give you some context, I think context would be good.
Here.
I signed an employment agreement with JLM Couture in the summer of 2011. I was 25 years old and I did not have a lawyer. If anyone tells you that you don't need to have a lawyer, take a look at an agreement or contract. Please get a lawyer. If that is the only thing you take away from this video, I will be happy.
The amount of money I'm going to guesstimate that she got paid on this contract, it is worth it to get an attorney. But this is also where people that are young in the music industry get pulled into. It's like, this is my break. Look at this money. We're going for it. She sold her name. And it's going to be very hard for her to get around the fact that she sold her name because she sold her name. And of course, my mouse just died, so I can't even click back over because everything just froze. That's not helpful. So she sold her name. And the marketing part of this is why they now have control and access of that Instagram account because they're arguing it's marketing. And it goes on to talk about intellectual property. It talks about what happens. It talks about consideration. It talks about how she's getting paid on her designs and intellectual property. The parties expressly agree that all designs, drawing, notes, patterns, sketches, prototype samples, improvements to existing works, and any other works conceived of or developed by employee in connection with her employment with company involving bridal clothing, accessories, related bridal or wedding items, alone or with others, from the commencement of her employment by the company through the term of the agreement and any extensions, are works for hire, and ownership of any intellectual property arising from or related to the designs shall be the sole and exclusive property of the company. Everything. So if she creates another brand, she is going to have to do it under different names that can't compete with this. This is still going through litigation, and she is going to have to adhere to this. Hyatt's court, can't she get out of this contract? No. Well, I mean, yes, she's out of this contract. She's no longer employed for them, but they still own the rights to her name, her designs, and all the things under this contract. So she's leaving their employment, but the repercussions of what she signed are going to be long lasting because the company owns the trademark rights to her name. If you are a designer, if you are a creative, pick a name that's not your name. Pick a celebrity name, pick a pet name, pick a fun name. But if she had done like Paige Babe Design, that's stupid, but whatever, Paige Babe Design or Paige Babe, then they would own Paige Babe and not her name, right? So if you are starting a brand and it's a personal brand and you don't own it, it's a problem, right? This is how Prince ended up not being able to use Prince. Is the lawsuit her suing them or her suing them? UVA, I'm going to pull up the lawsuit right quick and we're going to talk about it. So, Jackie, the name of the designer is Hayley Paige, Hayley Paige Gutman, and they own her name. And I hope I pronounced her last name right, but that's her name and they own it. They own Hayley. They own Paige. They own Hayley Paige Gutman, Hayley Gutman, Hayley Paige, or any derivative thereof. She is not going to be able to design under this name. Yes, Divine Energy, this is the takeaway. Do not use your own name unless it's your own brand. I use my own name and I own my branding. If I was going to build a business to sell, then I would build it under a different name or title or nickname or something else. If you're building a business to sell, then you need to build it not under a personal brand. Google user question: if she legally changed her name from Hayley Hayley to Hayley Hailey Page instead, would she be able to design under that name? Oh no, she wouldn't be, because it would be considered a derivative and they own derivatives. She would end up right back in court, I would think, because it says derivative thereof. And it also says anything that could be substantially confusing. So no, I would think that going forward, she is going to have to design under a completely different name, not involving her own name. Like, I don't know, what is her new Instagram? All That Glitters. So if All That Glitters is available, like glitter gowns or something. I mean, again, I'm not into naming bridal gowns. Everything I say is going to be stupid on that, but it would have to be something completely unrelated. Could she get away with HP? I don't know. Would it be derivative? Maybe. So let's pull up the lawsuit. And this is the complaint. This was filed in New York, 12/15/20. You guys, tsunami. This is the company JLM Couture suing her. They are in federal court. They are suing for breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment, common law unfair competition, conversion, breach of contract, conversion, again, trespass to chattels. We get to talk about chattels again. Chattels. We get to talk about chattels again. And so they go on to say why. Plaintiff JLM Couture is a corporation. Hayley Paige Gutman is a natural person, not a corporation, right? Because she was an employee. This gets into the background. JLM designers have won 10 Debbie Awards. I guess that's a thing. JLM operates 12 fashion collections. Upon information and belief, Gutman graduated from Cornell. Gutman's employment. So they go into her employment. And I will do a full breakdown video of this. Where is the beef? Where's the beef? The employment agreement is still in effect as it was extended by JLM pursuant to a written agreement on July 15th, 2014, and pursuant to JLM's notice dated February 12th, 2019, in which JLM exercised its option to extend the term of the agreement for at least an additional 3 years. So February 2019 to February 2020, 21. So through at least the end of 2021, possibly 2022, exercise its option to extend the term of the agreement for at least 3 years. Pursuant to an amended agreement, Gutman's duties remain the same, except that she was also responsible for designing the Jim Helm, I think, bridal and occasions lines. See amended agreement. We'll pull the amended agreement. So this is saying that she was forced into a contract extension. In her video, she was saying she did not want to extend her contract because it was too one-sided. This is very similar to the music industry, where we see that in somebody like Kanye West's agreements, where it's like, no, you can say you want to be done, but we have the right to extend your contract without your permission. So we have the right. We've extended your contract. Show up and work. show up and work. Show up and work. So this means they extended this contract. They had an option to extend the contract unilaterally and did so. They're saying she is to devote her full time and attention to JLM's business during business hours. And while she's employed, she will not, without the prior consent of the board of directors, engage in any other business enterprise which requires the personal time or attention of her. Okay. So, where are we getting to what she was doing? They're talking about the consideration she was given. This is just my first look. I have not been through this yet, which is why there will be a breakdown. Something happened. Right to exercise her name. Right to exercise her name. Filed for the trademarks. We know. JLM owns domains. They own HayleyPaige.com, MissHayleyPaige.com, JLM Couture / Hayley Paige. Okay. JLM's use of social media is an integral part. This is going to get into her trademark. What did she do, though? Plaintiff has undertaken significant effort to protect and ensure that it continued ownership and control over social media accounts that it owns and controls, including the JLM HP social media accounts and her social media account. Gutman initially performed as required under the employment agreement, but by not only providing her services as a designer, but also assisting in the advertisement and promotion of goods created by Gutman and sold by JLM. To that end, on or about April 6, 2012, the main IG account was created, and within the scope of her employment pursuant to Section 2 of the agreement, Gutman thereafter assisted in the maintenance of that account to assist with JLM's advertising programs. So they're saying the Instagram account was always part of her employment. And then this goes on with the Instagram account as further evidence by the importance of the main. Okay. We heard what you did. What did she do? Where's the breach? Oh my God. We're like 15 pages in and I still don't know what she did. There we go. Gutman's infringing. Could you put it in all caps? It's so annoying when it's not in all caps. Gutman's infringing apps, despite the success of the HP brands, and in stark contrast to the prior cooperation of and in collaboration with Gutman regarding JLM's ownership and use of the main IG account in November 2019, Gutman began to take steps to not only assert control over JLM's property, the main IG account, but Gutman took steps that has resulted in damage to JLM's business and intellectual property rights. Issues began in November 2019 when Gutman created a TikTok account. Oh, this is just social media everywhere. A TikTok account under the Miss Hayley Paige name and subsequently posted videos that did not properly represent the HP brands. The Miss Hayley Paige name is one of the designer's names, and JLM has used it continuously in commerce since April of 2012. Consumers who follow JLM HP social media accounts, which utilizes the HP US trademarks, do so because they want to follow JLM's Hayley Paige brand designer wedding gown collection as such. So this goes on to it being a work account. When Joe Murphy advised Gutman that she should post JLM approved content on the TikTok, rather than posting personal images, Gutman responded shortly thereafter by changing the password to the main IG account so that JLM could no longer access the account. Therein lies the issue. She was trying to exert sole control over this Instagram. They were saying no. Then we're getting into July 2020. Gutman began posting personal images in addition to bridal images, as well as uploading posts promoting the goods of third parties. Oh, there was other brand deals on the Instagram account, such as olive oil, beer, and nutritional supplements, none of which were approved by JLM and none of which relate to the bridal industry. Oh, okay. Well, so by going by this, again, these are allegations. It seems like they're arguing is that she wanted to start shifting into the personal brand space and not just being a designer by her employer. And her employer is like, oh no, you can't take brand deals on your 1.1 million Instagram account that is our business account. You can't take personal brand deals on the business account. This seems to be the crux of the lawsuit. I will do a full breakdown. But federal trademark dilution's in there, meaning she's diluting the mark that they own. Oof. New York common law trademark dilution. Again, she is diluting the value of the marks. False designation of origin in violation. We're going to have to pull that up. New York common law and fair competition. conversion, which is taking the Instagram account that's their property and to her, unlawful trespass to chattels, the chattel in this case being the Instagram account. Chattel means property. So the chattel is the nose. The chattel being the Instagram account that she is trespassing on it because she doesn't own it. Ooh, breach of fidelity, which is your duties, breach of contract. Let's say the prayer for relief. There's more allegations here. Where's the prayer for relief? Jury trial demanded, prayer for relief. Oh my God. Why is this prayer for relief 3 pages long? 4 pages long. Holy shit. Oh, wait, that's unjust enrichment. Okay. I hate it when prayer for relief, it needs to be its own highlighted section, y'all. I mean, stylistically, that's just my preference, but there might be local rules that I am unaware of because I don't practice in New York. Plaintiff demands judgment that defendant and her agents enjoined from using any of the trademarks, using the trademark or service mark, using any trademark or service mark of any kind, passing off, palming off, or assisting passing off, palming off defendant's goods or services as those of plaintiff, so not designing under her name, engaging in activity consistent with unfair competition, not competing with them, registering or applying for any other trademark. So they are trying to forestall her from fighting with them more, and not competing with the trademarks of Miss Hayley Paige, etc. That's why there's this temporary restraining order. So this temporary restraining order was entered. That's the sealing order. The preliminary injunction and temporary restraining order was issued December 16th, and it ordered that Hayley Paige Gutman show cause in a hearing by remote means to be specified on January 29th, 2021, or as soon thereafter as counsel may be heard. Why an order should not be issued pursuant to Rule 65 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure as following. That's going to be a motion for summary judgment. During the pendency of this action, enjoining defendant along with her officers, agents, service employees, and attorneys and all other persons who are in active concert or participation with them from taking any of the following actions set forth in this order. It is hereby ordered that security in the amount of $200,000 be posted by plaintiff within 21 days. It's further ordered that personal service and a copy of this order and plaintiff's moving papers be served upon defendant and defendant's counsel. It is further ordered that answering papers be served. It is, where is the TRO in this? It's in here somewhere. I don't know why I'm not seeing it, but she was also ordered to relinquish control of the accounts. And that is in here somewhere, but these are very thick. And this is getting into the filing of where is it? I'm not seeing it. The order to show cause is coming on the 19th. Motion for temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction. I'm just trying to find, here's all the stuff that was filed. I'm trying to find where the court says that the temporary order is granted, because the temporary order was granted, which is why she has no access to her order granting 9-letter motion to seal. So it granted the stuff that was sealed, granting the jury trial deposit. It's in here somewhere. On the order to show cause, but she is temporarily enjoined from using it while this is all pending. So there is all these pending hearings that's going to go over this, but essentially they have the trademark to her name. They were able to extend the contract. There are 40 plus exhibits. So when I do a breakdown video, I'm going to go through all the exhibits. She's employed. That's why the Instagram account is such a big deal. They are arguing that the Instagram account is marketing and that they own it, and that she was breaching her contract by starting to do personal things on her Instagram account. She should have been aware, because this contract is not thickly written. This contract is written very clearly. I mean, the contract, I am a lawyer, but the contract says in it exclusive right to the name of designer. It goes into marketing. So it's not going to be well taken. Unfortunately, in law, she took the money, she signed the agreement, she sold the rights, and there's not a lot she's going to be able to do to undo that. The best I think she can hope for with this is that she is able to figure out what boundaries there are around this to move forward in designing in a way that doesn't directly compete with her employer, but they might be able to forestall her from competing. There is a non-compete in this, and I don't know how they force her to work from this. They might not be able to force her to work, but they can force her to not go and compete with them. And they might enforce a strict and long non-compete, meaning you cannot go design and you cannot go design for someone else or in another way. This is this is a very um clear contract. Like the language isn't buried in here. This is the headers are clear. There's no like, oh, it was hidden in like 10-point font in this little footnote, like, oh, it's way down there. I never would have seen it. How could I know I was selling my name? No, it's in here. You're selling your designs, you're selling your name, and there is money attached to this. We don't know how much money, but there is money attached to this. And you chose. So this is very much like the buyer's remorse we see in the music industry. That's what it feels like to me on my initial look. Again, the things that she did are allegations in this lawsuit. They are saying this is what she did to violate it, but we don't know if she did those things. I mean, if you go back in her Instagram, maybe you'll see, you don't know. Um, if you're signing a large employment contract like this that probably involved quite a lot of money, it involved words like trademarks, you're going to have someone review it and explain it to you. I think she probably just didn't understand, or understood and was like, yeah, but it'll never come to that. So this isn't going to just go away. She is not going to just get out from under this one based on what I'm seeing. And that personal account, they're saying it started when she was an employee and it was meant for employment. Let's go take a look. I'm going to answer questions and I'm going to scroll up to get to some of the questions for sure. Adrian said, can she open a new brand under a different name and then post the former socials? No, I don't think she could. The court is going to have to give a lot of clarity about how she's allowed to go forward in light of this lawsuit, but she can't compete or mislead. And there's a non-compete in her too that's going to say there's a period of time where she is not allowed to design and not allowed to compete with someone else. But in 2011, this kind of stuff in the music industry was known. I imagine that this is very well known in the fashion industry too. I can't imagine other designers have not had this happen. I know other designers have sold brands, makeup brands under personal names have been sold, and you can't use it. Somebody brought up on Twitter yesterday, Kate Spade selling to Coach and not being able to design under her name. It's because the name and the goodwill is part of what you're selling. You're selling that. That's why I tell people, do not. If you're going to personal brand, if that's what you're selling, then you have to sell your name too if you sell your brand. And then you cannot use your name on anything else. I want to pull up this Instagram and see if that change is apparent to us because now I'm curious. And I was not familiar with her before yesterday because I don't follow the wedding space because I've been married forever. Forever. Shelby Hall said the first thing I'd tell a client is that they'll no longer own their name or their designs. I mean, it's not a confusing contract. It's not a confusing contract at all. Kaylee, no, you didn't miss the explanation of what led to the lawsuit because I went about it backwards as we were doing the first look. I'm going to do a whole breakdown video on it, but she was not performing the employment contract and they sued her. It sounds like on first glance, they extended her contract and she started using her Instagram as a personal account, and that is not, it's a brand account from her employer. It sounds like some of those allegations are was making brand deals and posting non-approved content, which is not going to go well. So I want to pull this up and take a look. I mean, this looks like her on television. This is from November 16th. This is TV. That looks like Say Yes to the Dress. I mean, all of these things would have had to be approved. So this looks like an ad for jewelry. We know that there's trademarks in the jewelry space. That looks like jewelry. giveaway time through Chosen Foods. So something like this, if this was a sponsored, which chosen partner should have been up here, that it clearly this is a partnership deal, but this would have had to be approved by her employer because this is a work page. This is not a personal page. That's what they're alleging in the lawsuit. So a brand deal like this would need to be approved. But if she's making brand deals and selling access to someone else's customers, what they're essentially arguing is that the 1 million people on this page, no, cancel. The 1 million people on this page are customers of JLM Couture. This is a business account. She is a brand under that umbrella company, and she cannot choose unilaterally to do other brand deals because now she is selling access to JLM's customers without JLM's approval. So this is very interesting to see that. I wonder if there are others in here. Let's see how far back this goes because this all mostly looks like bridal stuff with a very little bit that looks like Burning Man with a very little bit of personal stuff thrown in, but mostly bridal stuff. So I don't know if there are other brand deals in here. Maybe there are, but this is very much a consistent and beautifully branded account that looks like it's mostly branded around work and then some like personal life stuff. So I wonder if this is a deal because this sticks out as a not on. This is her now promoting her second Instagram. I wonder if it's the dog account. But this is the second Instagram, which is interesting because it kind of jumps out at you because it's so different from the other content, right? So we will see what happens with this, but this is going to be interesting. The court has already said that the account is owned by the company for now while this is all pending, probably to preserve and not delete anything because she has no access to go in and remove stuff like that previous brand deal. I don't know if there's others. I mean, this is a very pink and white account, isn't it? There might be others. We'll go through and find them. I'm sure articles will be written about it. Let's go and look at your questions and answer some of those. Steve, if you're talking about this, at least it's only for a period of time. No, they own those trademarks under this agreement in perpetuity. Forever. The employment agreement says in perpetuity. Jackie said Bobbi Brown started a new makeup brand under something different. And if she is allowed to do that after the non-compete period, it would have to be under a different name. Shelby, question, what happens to the money she made from sponsored content on the company Instagram account? Can the company go after it? They can. I think what they're going after is the account itself. But could they? If there's money, if it's proven that there's money, then yes, they can. Jay said JLM is legally correct, but without her presence on the account, it won't continue to have 1 million subs. I agree with you. I think this whole lawsuit's a marketing nightmare. I think JLM is between a rock and a hard place because people who like her and follow her as the kind of celebrity personal brand are not going to like what they're seeing going down with this. So from a PR standpoint, this is going to be a problem, and working it out together probably would have been ideal. But from her video, it sounds like she didn't want to work it out and they extended her contract. This is so very much like a record label beef to me. Oh yeah, perpetuity means for the fuck ever. In perpetuity. In perpetuity. I see Hayley's husband on the accounts. Did he sign over his rights too? No, it doesn't look like it from initial looks, but we will see. We will see. We will see. We will see. So I'm going to try to answer a few more questions. Stephanie, if she wanted to, can she buy the trademarks? I don't think they will sell them. I don't think they'll sell her back the trademarks. I think they have too much invested in it. I mean, could it in theory happen? Yes. But in theory, Taylor Swift could buy her own masters too. I'm going to pull up the absolute definition of perpetuity so I can go through. Perpetuity, Merriam-Webster. Perpetuity, eternity. The quality or state of being perpetual. The condition of an estate limited so that it would not take effect to vest within the period of a fixed law, an estate so limited or an annuity. But perpetuity generally means forever, like without end, like continuing, all of the continuing. So I'm going to go through all of it, and I'm going to go through all of the underlining lawsuit and break out what they're saying that happened, like what the beef is and what went down. And then I'm going to go through the temporary restraining order in a video where I sit down and just go on. So perpetuity is the forever. Annie J said, I don't think there will be any trust Mariah. She shut them out of the account and spoke about it in public. I think we're like the shit's out of the horse on this thing, and it's going to be a problem. Like we're in court already. So Bree Patrick said, without the designer, though, the trademark is worthless if she no longer designs for them. It might be, it's just going to depend on what the marketplace does. They can also license her name to things. They can license it to other designers. So they can bring in other designers to design under her name. They have the right to do that. Do people still listen to Taylor Swift, even though she doesn't own her masters? Yes. So might people still buy it? Maybe. I think there's two things going on here, and that question brings it up beautifully. There is the PR part of this, and then there is the legal part of this. So JLM, based on the employment contract and my first looks, that contract says what it says. She sold those rights. So initially it looks like, yes, those rights were sold. But PR-wise, could JLM win the battle and lose the war? Yes. So we'll see. It's going to be messy. It's going to be messy. It's going to be messy. Andy's mom, Sammy, said, we've seen this a lot in the music industry, the public backlash for the company. It seems it caused the company more harm than good to do this. It might. Obviously, they are going to protect their money. And with trademarks, we haven't talked about trademarks really a lot. We haven't gotten to talk about this kind of intellectual property because people have been so fucking busy defaming each other that we haven't gotten to talk about trademarks. But you have to protect it, like use it or lose it with trademarks. And so they're kind of obligated to protect it. So I think the company's between a rock and a hard place, but PR wise, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well from the PR. So, Shaylin, I hope I pronounced that right. Question, do they have to disclose if she wasn't the designer of the dress? No, they don't. They have the right to use her name. She disclosed that in her video, this video yesterday. She said, going forward, anything under my name's not me. So that's what she said. Anything that's under my name's not me. She put that out there yesterday. So, I mean, I don't know. The 25-year-old argument is a bit meh. Yeah, at 25, I was, in law school. I just feel like she was probably aware enough. I mean, it's not like she's Taylor Swift at 15 signing a record contract, right? And even then it was her parents. It feels like this was a choice. There was money that exchanged hands, and she's regretting that choice now. And that happens in contracts. I mean, it happens in marriages. It happens that we regret choices that we make. It doesn't mean you can just undo it, though, when there are legal obligations. Jay, this is a great point. Jay says traditional contracts are no match for modern social media battles. So at the end of the day, yeah, JLM can be legally correct and still lose this on the PR standpoint because it seems that people resonate with her. Shush, no. Anyway, so it will be interesting diving into it. It looks like they force extended her contract, which is something that the music industry does as well. This is going to be a lesson for up and coming creatives, designers, musicians. Yes, you can make a lot of money to build your brand, but at what cost? Like at what cost? At what cost? So that is really the question here is, how much is it worth it? And I've said this in other content. At what point do we stop selling ourselves? And that's the question. EG said, what designer and brand are we talking about? We are talking about Hayley Paige and JLM Couture. It is a wedding dress designer situation. I'm going to get this wrong. Hold on. Shoni's Madchin. I hope I got that right. I'm sure that I didn't. but hi. Question: can she not use her name for anything else official, like signing up for credit card or donating to charity, since they own the name? How exactly do they own it? I'm going to be covering that more in the breakdown. It looks like from this employment agreement that we've gone over that they own it in the categories that they own it in the trademark, in the design, in the wedding industry. And I'm going to pull that up one more time just on the screen so we have it. But the exclusive right in connection with the design, manufacture, marketing, or sale of bridal clothing, bridal accessories, and related bridal and wedding items, including any and all goodwill associated. So it looks like, no, yeah, she's going to be able to sign up for a credit card and things like that. But the court is going to have to parse this for them now that it's already in court, but it's related to her work. So related to designing. So if she was going to go design dresses, it can't be under any of these names in a work context. And she says that in her video too, that it's a work contest, a work context. And I know I missed a few super chats, and I'm sorry. As I go pull those up, because the mods have helpfully put them in a chat for me. Thank you to our lovely mods. There are 2,300 of us in here. Don't forget to hit the like. And if you're not subscribed and you like the content, go ahead and do that. That would be great. Lori Myers asked, and this must have been a while ago. Sorry, Lori. How does the spying work with HIPAA laws? My husband's a physician and is constantly taking calls at home. I don't know how the social media HIPAA plays together because I don't know. I mean, I think that that's a question that the continuing education in the fields should cover, but also most professionals tend not to use social media and stuff at work. I know my husband didn't have any of those apps on his phone. So when he used social, he did them in different ways. And it just depends on how it's used. But the overhearing of household devices shouldn't be a huge thing, but people are concerned about it. So that's a question you're going to definitely have to answer in your household. Bookmouse asked a question. Have you seen Simply Nailogical's podcast with her experience with trademark law regarding her Halo Taco nail polish brand? I have. She has had some very interesting trademark disputes. I really like the way she breaks things down, and I enjoy her brand. But yes, there was argument over the word taco and Taco Bell, I believe. Uncovering hypocrisy. Not a question, but can you please say happy birthday to B and Minnie? B and Minnie, happy birthday. I absolutely can say happy birthday. They're my daughters. Birthdays were the 18th and 20th. They will freak out. Happy birthday, B and Minnie. I hope it was fantastic. And it's the holidays. So hopefully you don't get like that. It's my birthday, but it's also really close to the holidays. So, like, let's just mush it all together. Hopefully, you get standalone celebration the way that you would otherwise. So, thank you for asking that. You guys, this is a lot. This is a lot, a lot, a lot. Citrix ZBD said, honestly, do business without professional advice or a lawyer. You get what you get. It's weird that it's only Americans that turn around and cry not fair in a free enterprise agreement that they signed. It's a valid observation. It's a valid observation for sure. I think not understanding is it's one thing if she didn't have the opportunity to understand, but it doesn't seem like she didn't have the opportunity to understand. So, hello to all the Europeans in here. It's just people need to understand what work for hire means and intellectual property rights and who owns the right, because it happens across creative fields. Bree Patrick said, designers beware when collaborating, lend out your name only in conjunction with the collab. Yes, limited, don't give them your actual name on its own. It's very real. And that might be worth less money. And so brands might say, well, we're not going to invest in you as a designer if you're building a brand under something else. But it also looks like, here, let's pull up JLM's website again. It looks like this was partly a choice too. Let's pull up this website because there are other brands under this collective, right? It's not just, I wonder what Instagram they have listed. Let's see what they're. Here we go. We've got Hayley Paige, Lazaro. I don't know if that is an actual individual's name or not, but it could be. Allison Webb seems like an individual name, but it might not be their name. It might be a stage name. Um, Tara Kelly by Lazaro, Blush by Hayley Paige, Theodore by Allison Webb, Hayley Paige, Athleisure. Oh, there's Athleisure. A wedding company sells wedding specific athleisure. That's a lot of sequins. Okay. Um, let's see what other collections we have. No, collections. No. Get me out of here. Go back, go back. JLM. Oh, this is the Jim Helm brand that they were talking about. These do look like names, whether they are actual names or whether they are stage names. I don't know, but this is where people use stage names as their brand and not their real name, not their given name. So who knows? Who knows? We will see. We will see. We will see. Let me move this over so I can read it. Brenda Lee Linden said, yeah, they basically own any variation, her first name, middle name, first and middle together, maiden, married, everything. Yes, in connection with work. So in connection with design and what happened. Katya Cotton said, Emily, please tell people to keep their phone number up to date and or add second trusted phone number to two-factor authentication when setting it up. That's a very good reminder. Katya, thank you. Let me make sure I sweep any other questions and then we'll go from there. It is almost time for me to hop off. It's been just about 2 hours, so I'm starting to get congested again from all the talking, and I really do want to do a breakdown video on this because it's not defamation. And it seems like there's some really interesting conversations to be had about trademark rights, naming rights, what you own, what you don't own, very similar to the music industry. And so I feel badly for the parties involved. This is going to be tremendously stressful, but I'm also very interested in how like trademark rights and who started it and employment rights and what you sell when you're an employee all coalesces into social media and personal branding. It's fucking fascinating. And we're going to have a SALTC filing today or tomorrow. So we've got a lot going on. Mariah question, what if as an artist I gave an animation studio my name, but not Mariah Gem or Mariah Gem Osmondson? My URL is under my Mariah Gem name. Mariah, it's hard to say. It just depends on what the contracts say and how those are interpreted. And that's why it is always worth knowing how your contracts talk about it and what have you. So it just depends. It just depends. Sorry that that's the lawyery answer, but it really just depends on what the contracts say, and you can always have somebody evaluate those and talk about it. So yeah. Lazaro is a male designer of wedding dresses. He's also on Say Yes to the Dress from time to time. Thank you, Sinister Moon. It seems like Say Yes to the Dress has a good relationship with this JLM Couture and that's kind of part of the thing. I don't know. Thank you very much, Cade. Question, Hayley will still get a percentage of any profits. I thought it said that in the contract. I don't know. Given the breach of contract, we will see. And I'm going to do a full breakdown because I haven't read, as I said, I haven't read absolutely everything. We pulled these last night to do first impressions because that video kind of blew up yesterday and we all became aware of it. Crystal K, this contract wasn't hard to understand when you read it out loud. It sucks, but she did sign a contract at the age of 25. When your brain is done developing, she wasn't a naive 18-year-old. It also looked like she was, not that college educated has everything to do with it, but one can assume a level of reading comprehension. It seems that this might be a situation where she was just very excited at this opportunity and wanted to do it and now regrets it. But in the lawsuit, let me pull up the document of the lawsuit. When it talks about her as a natural person, it says it had her college in there. This is why it had her college in there, because she went to Cornell. Cornell would have laughed at my ass. Cornell would have been like, get the fuck out of here, bitch. You are not anywhere near qualified to come to our school. Upon information and belief, Gutman graduated from Cornell University with a degree in fashion design. I can't imagine that Cornell, I'd be fascinated to know. I can't imagine that they don't cover some of this in fashion design because this is business. And I can't imagine they would never cover any of the business side of the fashion industry. So, I mean, she's a Cornell grad when she signed this. Let's just keep that in mind. Boobless Silly said, like Big Nose said, you can win in the court but lose in public perspective. I love how Em handled that interview. I really enjoyed I really enjoyed being with Nick Rekieta. I love the cheekiness he has with his audience and his fans. But yes, you can win in the court of law and lose in the court of public opinion, and especially in the court of social media, for sure. And that might be a win the battle, lose the war here, but we'll see because this can go two ways. I really see some people can look at this and be like, I'm sorry. Who the fuck do you think you are, Hayley Paige? You signed this contract for all this money. You have gained fame as a personal brand because of your work with them. And now you're like, but I don't want to do it anymore. This could also backfire on her when people understand the full context of the fact that she did sign these contracts. It's not like this is coming out of the blue. And that backfired. Some people definitely had feelings about Taylor Swift being ungrateful. This is my observation that this happens to women more than men, that people are like, oh, well, you're being ungrateful. But people said it about Kanye West too. Like, well, you signed these things. You knew what the contract was. You made the money. You spent it. What do you want us to do? So this could go both ways. This could go both ways. And you have to read the contracts. You have to read the contracts. Defending the straw man. It's a fantastic name. In the recording industry, you are not generally an employee. That's true. You are not an employee in the same way, but the contracts read very similarly as this employment contract. That was how I meant that. Let me see if there are any other questions to sweep. Casey, me too. Why does this sound like a playground fight? We will also have EJ court info today as well. We will know today if Erica Jane's assets are frozen, and I'm fascinated. I think it's a reasonable possibility. And Erica Jane's still running branded content on her Instagram, probably because she's obligated to, but she was running a Fenty X promotion today. Samantha, question. She had the Insta before, right? She started working for them. So does it still count? Samantha, according to the lawsuit, it says that she started the Instagram while she was employed by them in 2012. This employment contract that was attached is from 2011. So it seems like she started it as she was an employee, and that will matter. Absolutely. Let me see if there are any. Josie, wait, what about Salty? The Salty response to the KJ motion to dismiss is due by tomorrow. So we'll have that soon. Dinner's ready. Question generally about how much money does a lawyer charge to review an employment contract? Ew, it depends. See, a contract like this is more than just an employment contract. An employment contract that is kind of standard. It depends on the hourly rate and all of that. What is happening back there? It depends on the hourly rate and all of that and where you live. But a contract like this might cost a bit more. But depending on how much you're making in a contract like this, if this is a 10-year contract with multiple percentages and probably in the hundreds of thousands of dollars range, $5,000 for a thorough review plus consulting is fine. But there are lawyers who will do it for 2 hours at $600 or at $400, depending on where you live. So it really just depends. Again, it's a small percentage of what you stand to lose. Question, have you kept up with Andrew Yang and him trying to get WWE performers to challenge their independent contractor contracts? I have seen a lot going on with the WWE. I have not kept up with it well, but it is on my content list because I am aware of what's going on. And independent contractor stuff is just, there's a lot going on with that. Thank you. Can she fight for her signature? not to use it as a brand in connection with wedding stuff, but as like, hey, I'm signing a receipt at the restaurant because I wanted to go get margaritas. I mean, when we're all allowed to do that again, then yes. Oh, no. Shoo. Shoosh. So this is why I shouldn't leave Instagram up when it has live videos. But she can use it, just not in connection with selling the wedding things that were listed in the contract. So yes, it's due by tomorrow. So we'll see. You guys, thank you for all the holiday wishes, Lady Law, for all of the holidays that everyone is celebrating. Jake's Baby Cakes, do you think JLM warned HP before suing, like someone else that ignored forced cease and desist? Based on her own video, it said that this has been ongoing for a year and a half. So it seems like there has been displeasure since the middle of 2019 and that this has been ongoing. And so if you guys are interested in that video, I had put it up here. And I will put it up let me put it in the description as well. So you guys can see her take on it. And then you can decide. I mean, we're not really litigating this thing here. We're just breaking down what's going on. My hope in breaking down what's going on is that everyone understands what contracts like this mean and what selling rights like this looks like, because it does happen. And I think it's important. So I'm adding that into the description. So it's there. It's just important. It's just important. 8 happy person. This is true. This is very true. This is very true. You'd be surprised how many college educated people aren't as smart as you'd expect. It's true. One of my cousins thought Europe was in South America. Okay. Well, it's fair. College doesn't always help us for real world experiences, but I think it should. And I think that pressing for things like, hey, understand what terms of use are, understand what contracts are. It's what we're going to do here so that we all understand. I don't know why I'm breaststroking. I'm like, it's what we do here. We're going to make sure everyone understands to read your contracts. I don't know, EG. The question is, are there any legal issues with the Carl Lentz megachurch affair scandal? I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with it. I am putting together a intake form where you guys can send suggestions so that we have a whole intake where I can see what you guys want me to hear or cover, and we will do that. Let me see if there's any other questions. Dara, so many design schools leave their kids high and dry on legal matters. That's really unfortunate. They should have lawyers in there saying, this is what you need to know. This is how you work in the industry. These are the common pitfalls of the industry. These are what common contracts look like. Thank you, chat. We are going to absolutely, it's 1:10 almost. I have talked for 2 hours. You guys, I appreciate you so much, Law Nerds. There will be a video at 11. It will either be, I have not decided yet, it will either be the podcast video version for a premiere live chat, or it will be a breakdown of this. Though if Salty files that response, it might be that. So there will be a video live at 11 tomorrow. What video it will be, I'm not sure yet. And then there will be a 1 hour after party after that. And then we'll be off for the holidays. No Friday Night Live. It doesn't mean I won't be on the Instagrams, because I'll be on the Instagrams. So I'm going to tell you the YouTube things real quick. Like the thing, this thing. How many likes do we have on this video? Anybody in the chat want to tell me? Because I can't see it. I can't see it because I'm not on my own channel, so I can't tell. But like the video, do that. That's important. Apparently, it helps with algorithms and things. So go and like it. We've got over 2,000 people watching. We should have likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and hit the bell. You'll be notified for the things. If you want to keep up with me all over the socials, it's here. Thank you for being here, Law Nerds. I appreciate you guys so much. We're going to get into that outro, and we're going to have a good day. I will be on social over the holidays a bit, but I will also be taking a little time away to enjoy the holidays, because sometimes a break from social is warranted. But I will see you back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for hanging with me today, Law Nerds. You are the best. I have a hard time wrapping up. I don't know what else to say. Cheers. I'm going to finish my coffee and I will talk to you guys later. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. The podcast is the Get Legit Law and Shit podcast. So if you're ready to ride at dawn, head over to lawnerdshop.com, your place for all your law nerd needs, stickers, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and more coming soon. If you guys want to join the text, just text emily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube